When I first met Harper, she had a smile that made you think everything in her world was manageable. We met through a rental app. She needed a roommate to fill the second bedroom in her downtown apartment, and I needed a new start after breaking up with my long-term boyfriend. The place was small but full of light, with plants hanging from curtain rods and the faint smell of lavender that clung to every pillow. She was easy to talk to, the kind of person who'd ask questions and actually wait for your answer. We signed the lease that day, laughed about how we were both emotionally damaged but rent-con, and decided to celebrate with cheap wine and pizza on the floor. I thought I had found a friend. For the first few months, living with Harper was effortless. We had quiet mornings and chaotic nights, movie marathons, and long talks about the universe at 2 a.m. She had this way of turning ordinary moments into little adventures. A grocery run became a music video. Cleaning day turned into karaoke. I hadn't realized how lonely I'd been until I wasn't anymore. I thought we were becoming something like family. Then she met Ryan. The first time she brought him over, he came with a bottle of whiskey and too much cologne. He had this confident charm, the kind that fills a room before he even says anything. I remember watching him from the kitchen as Harper introduced us. He smiled, but his eyes didn't match it. They looked through me, not at me. He wasn't rude exactly, just attached, like he was already calculating something. That night, when they left for dinner, she texted me, "He's not usually that quiet. He likes you, though." I didn't reply. Something about him made me uneasy, but I pushed it away. People deserve chances, right? Weeks passed, and Ryan became a fixture in the apartment. His toothbrush appeared in the bar. His hoodie lived on the back of our couch. His shoes lined up next to ours by the door like they belonged there. At first, I tried to be cool about it. I didn't want to be the uptight roommate, but it started to feel like I was the intruder. He was everywhere. He cooked shirtless in our kitchen, played loud music, left his gaming equipment on the coffee table, and made himself at home in ways I hadn't agreed. One morning, I came out of my room half asleep to find him drinking coffee from my mug. When I said, "Hey, that's mine," he grinned and said, "What's yours is ours, right?" and winked. It was the kind of joke that was. Harper brushed it off later. "He's just being playful," she said. "He's comfortable." Isn't that a good thing? The energy of the apartment shifted. Harper started spending less time with me. Our movie nights became theirs. Our dinners became their dinners. And when I did get her alone, she seemed distracted, checking her phone constantly, glancing at the door like she was waiting. I missed my friend, but I didn't know how to say that without sounding jealous. The silence between us grew heavier every day, thick enough to... One evening, after a long shift at work, I came home to find my bedroom door slightly... I always closed it before leaving. My heart stuttered. I pushed it open and saw Ryan sitting on my bed, holding my... "You shouldn't keep this unlocked," he said casually, flipping a page. "Some things are too personal to leave My throat. "That's private," I managed to say. He smiled. "I didn't read. Just curious what kind of person I wanted to scream, but Harper came out of the bathroom just then, wrapped in a towel, and when she saw my face, she frowned at me, not him. "What's going on?" she asked. Ryan shrugged. "Just a misunderstanding." Harper looked at me like I was the problem. I locked my door after that. But locks only keep out people who respect them. Over the next weeks, small things began to go missing. My favourite sweater, my phone charger, a ring my mum gave me. I thought I was losing my mind. Then came the whispering. Late at night, I'd hear them arguing in the living room, Ryan's voice low and sharp, Harper's desperate. Once she cried so hard I almost went out to check on her, but something told me not to. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Her eyes were swollen, her laugh forced. When I asked if she was okay, she smiled and said, "You know how couples are?" I didn't. Not like that. One night, I woke to the sound of footsteps outside my room. Slow, deliberate. I held my breath. The steps stopped right at my door. Then a faint click. Someone was trying the handle. My body froze. The lock held, thank God, but I could hear breathing, his breathing, on the other side. A long pause, then retreating. I lay there, wide-eyed, until dawn. The next morning, Harper was gone. A note on the counter said, "Went to Mum's for the weekend. Ryan might stay here to watch the cat. We didn't have a cat." My heart sank. I called her. No answer. Texted. No reply. That night, I heard the key turn in the front door, and Ryan walked in like he owned the place. "Hey, roommate," he said, tossing his jacket on the couch. "Looks like it's just..." I retreated to my room, locked the door, and sat with my back against. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "You don't have to be scared of me." I deleted it instantly, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I barely... The next day, Harper called. "Sorry, I lost signal," she said. "Everything okay?" I told her everything. The footsteps, the text, how uncomfortable I was. There was a pause. Then she said, "Ryan wouldn't do that. Maybe it was someone outside. You get anxious sometimes." The word stung. She sounded more like him than her. When she came back 2 days later, she brought Ryan flowers, like she was apologizing to... I decided then I had to leave. I started looking for new apartments secretly, scrolling listings at work, talking to... But every time I got close to securing one, something went wrong. Landlord said my credit check failed. One even said, "Your roommate called and told us you were unstable. We can't approve that right now I hadn't listed Harper as a reference. Somehow they found out anyway." I confronted her. "Did you tell people not to rent to me?" She looked genuinely confused, or very good at pretending. "Of course not. Why would I..." Ryan smirked from the couch, his arm around. "Maybe the universe just doesn't want you to leave us yet." My stomach turned. The tension grew unbearable. I stopped eating with them, started staying at work. I'd come home quietly, lock my door, sleep with headphones in. But even that wasn't. One night, I woke up to whispering again, this time from inside. My closet door was open. Ryan stepped out, phone in hand, the light flashing briefly on his face before going. "You're paranoid," he whispered, grinning before slipping. I screamed. Harper rushed in moments later, half asleep, panicked. When I told her what happened, she turned on me. "He was checking on you. You were screaming in your sleep," she yelled. That was the moment I realized she believed him over me, or worse, she chose to. I tried going to the police. They told me unless he physically harmed me or stole something I could prove, there wasn't much they could do. "You lived there voluntarily," the officer said. Voluntarily. That word stuck in my throat like glass. Then things got darker. I started getting emails from fake accounts, photos of me inside the apartment, candid ones, me cooking, working at my desk, even sleeping. The captions were always the same. "You look peaceful when you don't know you're being." I stopped eating. My eyes had shadows so deep I barely recognized myself. Harper seemed oblivious or in denial. "You need therapy," she said once gently, like she was being kind. "You're spiraling." One day, when I came home early, I found Ryan in the kitchen with his laptop open. He didn't notice me at first. On the screen were folders labeled with my name. My hands went cold. "What are you doing?" I asked. He closed it instantly, smiling. "Just fixing the Wi-Fi," he said. I knew he was lying. That night I packed a bag. I planned to leave before dawn, but when I woke up, the bag was gone. So was my wallet. On my mirror, written in lipstick, were 3 words: "Don't run yet." I called Harper, hysterical. She didn't pick up. When she finally texted, it said, "We need to talk. Don't make this work." The words felt like they weren't hers. Or maybe they were, rewritten by fear. I spent that day in the library at hiding. When I finally came back home, the apartment was silent. Harper sat at the table, pale, eyes. "You've been acting crazy," she whispered. "Ryan's scared of you." I laughed bitterly. "He's scared of me," she nodded. "He said you threatened him." I shook my head. "He's manipulating you." She slammed her hands on the table. "He loves." That night was the breaking. I locked my door again, pushed a chair against it, and tried to. Around midnight, I heard the lock turn. Slowly, then the soft creak of the door opening. I grabbed my phone light, trembling. Ryan stood there, half-shadowed. "You should have listened." I threw my lamp at him, sprinted past, and bolted into the. My screams woke neighbours. He disappeared before they arrived, and the police came again. This time they found footage on his laptop, hidden camera recordings, all of me, in the shower, sleeping, changing, weeks of it. My body went numb. Harper broke down completely when they showed her. She had no idea. Or at least she convinced herself she didn't. Ryan was arrested. He'd installed miniature cameras throughout the apartment, inside air vents, in light fixtures, even in my. The emails came from his computer. The police said he'd been collecting everything. Harper moved out the same week, leaving a single note. "I'm so sorry. I didn't see it until it was too late. I couldn't stay there. I broke the lease, packed what little I could salvage. For weeks, I couldn't sleep. Every noise felt like breathing behind a wall. Every shadow looked like him. Therapy helped a little, but trust isn't something you rebuild overnight. Sometimes I still wake up thinking I hear footsteps outside my door. Sometimes I check my closet twice. But the worst part isn't fear. It's the memory of how normal it all seemed at first, how safe friendship can look before it turns dangerous. Now, whenever someone asks why I live alone, I smile and say I prefer peace. But what I really mean is I'd rather be lonely than ever again share a home with someone who calls themselves comfortable. Because sometimes comfort is the camouflage for control, and sometimes the monster doesn't break in. He's invited. Crazy Reddit stories, wild twists, and real drama. Subscribe, comment your take, and stay for the next tale.